from Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to ParentCast. It's a podcast dedicated to new parents, new babies, and their new lives together. So listen and relax because it's free, it's funny, and it's a lot better than therapy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of ParentCast. I'm your host, Mary Larson.
And I'm Blake, and I got to tell you, I am freaking stoked right now.
Oh, dude, tell me why.
Oh, I'm getting my motorcycle out tomorrow.
Yes, you are.
I cannot wait. For all of you guys who don't know, I own a motorcycle, and it's like the best thing that's ever happened to me besides, getting married, obviously. And
having your baby.
And, it was cool because we had a conversation earlier before we had Rhys and everything, and Mary, I got to admit, you were really cool about it. And, you didn't say, oh, you got to get rid of your motorcycle. You didn't nag me about it. Because what I said to her was, me and the motorcycle, it's like Tony Stark and Iron Man. You can't divorce the two. I am the motorcycle is me. You can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of the both of us.
No, I guess I can't. Well, the good thing is that luckily our 1-year-old will not be on the motorcycle with you. He'll be safe and sound in my car seat.
Well, I thought about, cutting a little hole in the side bag so I can pop his head out in the, no.
I think you need to re-listen to the car seat safety episode. No, I'm excited that you have motorcycle season coming up too. I mean, you of course are a very safe rider. You always wear your helmet. I'm a little scared sometimes because there's other crazy people on the road, but as long as you're safe and our baby is safe, then we're good. So today we are going to be talking about what it's like to even have more than one child. We, of course, have one 1-year-old, and he's driving us crazy half the time, even though we love him. But, talking about what it's like to have up to 5 kids.
5 kids, dude.
I was talking to someone this week, and she said that her mother had 14 children.
14?
None of them were multiples.
Oh my God, that lady was pregnant for
20 years or
almost
something.
Almost 20, like 2 decades.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess she and I were talking about the difficulties that we've gone through with just having a child, and she's like, I don't even know how my mom did it. I wouldn't even be able to remember all the kids' names if I have 14.
You'd have to write their names on their forehead with a Sharpie.
Seriously. You can't drive. Because you need to get you can't even have a car. You need to have a bus.
You can't even go anywhere.
No.
It's like survival of the fittest. Okay, I'm going to go out with these 2 kids, and the 12 others have to stay home and fend for themselves.
Or maybe your oldest is 16 and can drive. I have no idea. I don't know how people do it. God bless them, but
oh my God, you got to be seriously, you got to be committed to have 14 kids. Go to the hospital and stay there for a while.
They are. They're in the hospital.
No, I don't mean that hospital.
Birth.
I mean I mean crazy hospital.
No. Well, some people enjoy it, and more power to them. I just know I couldn't do it. So before we get into our big discussion, let's jump into the judgment-free zone.
Boom.
Blake, the honor is all yours this week. What do you have for us?
Thank you, my darling. And I got to say, I put it on the Facebook page, so some of you may have already seen this. But when I'm at work, occasionally I'll bring Rhys to work with me, to give you a break. You need it. That's okay. And I love taking him to work because it gets all the attention on me, and it's fantastic. But sometimes I actually got to do work. I got to get things done. And when I have to do that, I got to put him somewhere. But my office is too small to have a pack and play in there. So what do? Well, I have these big, huge boxes that houses styrofoam cups. So I just cut a little hole out and I put them in the box. A big cardboard box. It's a makeshift playpen. It's fantastic. I love it.
My favorite part about the most recent picture that you put up is that the first box that you put him in was completely top free. It was like a convertible. However, the most recent box picture that you put up, he only had kind of like the moonroof equivalent. So he went from convertible to moonroof, and I didn't think he liked that one too much.
No, and you know what the funny thing was too? It was like a stand-up box too, like a vertical one. It wasn't horizontal like a playpen. So he had about 3 square feet to actually stand and sit. And then that was it.
How long was he in this box?
He was in there for about an hour or so.
I mean, he's right next to you, right?
Oh, yeah, he's right next to me. I can see him. I can touch him if he falls or whatever. And yeah, he almost tipped the box over a couple of times.
Did he have any toys?
He had. I gave him a bagel.
Oh, okay. You know?
He had a bagel.
Well, at least he was safe because otherwise he would have been chewing cord. So I applaud you for your makeshift, but next time please give him a little bit more room.
It's man-genuity. That's what it is. You got to get things done. I make it happen.
So on that note, why don't we bring in our guest today who definitely, well, I don't even know. Maybe she puts her kid in a box. We'll have to find out.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
I doubt it. She's a quality mom.
She knows what she's doing.
All right, so joining us is Audrey McClelland. She's the founder of MomGenerations.com. Thanks for coming on in, Audrey.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yay. And now you have 5 children. You have 4 boys and 1 baby girl, right?
Yes, I do.
Audrey, I got to ask you, oh my God, what is it like to have 5 kids?
You know, it's crazy. It is. I mean, I think that it's funny. I don't know any different, to be honest with you. So I don't know what it's like, you know, just to have like, you know, like a boy and a girl who are like 2 years apart. You know, that's how my brother and my sister-in-law have 2 kids and they're 2 years apart. And I feel like whenever we're there, the house is so neat and like they tell them to go to bed and there's like no fussing. It's just, okay, let me put my stuff away and go up. And I'm sitting there with like literally like my jaw to the ground because I don't know any different than 4 crazy boys. They're good boys. They're very well behaved, good boys, but it's crazy. I mean, it's a lot going on in our house at all times.
Let me ask you, what are the ages of your kids?
So they are, we had the 4 boys within 3.5 years. So right now their ages are Henry's 5, Ben is 6, Alex, I have to like think of their names. I'm like, wait, who's next? Alex is 8 and William is 9.
Wait,
so
you just, let me get this straight. Hold on, time out. You know what? I'm issuing the first calm down of the interview. You have 4 boys within 3.5 years?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It was crazy. I mean, I will say William and Alexander, our oldest 2, they were planned to a T and they are 12 months apart almost to the day.
Wow.
So I like don't know what I was thinking or process. I literally must have been in such a fog at that moment in my life where we just got pregnant like right away again. But no, I mean, I'm kidding. But he really like, you know, those 2 guys were planned to a T. But then I look at Victoria, who is almost 9 months. And I think to myself, oh my God, like, I was 6 months pregnant, like for the second time already with like my second child by now. Oh. So it was crazy. I mean, we had 4 cribs, 4 high chairs. We had 2 double strollers. We were, everybody was in diapers at the same time. Everybody had bottles at the same time. I remember that. It was like survival. Like that was our days when Henry was born. It was like, let's just get through the day and see if we can do this again tomorrow. It was really crazy at the beginning.
Oh my God. God bless you because, I feel so bad now. I feel so small because here I am complaining about 1 kid. I'm like, oh, my life is over. I hate my one child.
Believe me, it's different. I mean, honest to goodness, like I'm that way with Victoria now. I'm like, oh my God, how do people do it? People are like, you have 4 other children. You do know this, right? I'm like, yeah, I know.
Now, did you always did you know that you wanted to have a big family?
You know, we did. I mean, my husband actually, he's from Pittsburgh, and his mother actually, her job, and she still does it to this day. When my husband's almost 40, and for 39 years, my mother-in-law has run a daycare out of her home. And there's always been, I remember when I first started dating him, I went and met his family, and he was like, don't be overwhelmed. There's usually like 20 kids at my house. And I thought he was kidding, but he wasn't. I mean, there were like 3 pack and plays in his bedroom. There were like 4 high chairs in the living room. I mean, his mother has been running this for so long that to my husband, like a lot of kids never fazed him. Like I remember when we brought William home, I was afraid to give him a bath. I was afraid to change his diaper. My husband was the one that took over and was like, no, this is how you do it. Like, you're not going to break him. He's going to be okay. And if he cries, it's all right. I mean, I learned a lot from him. He was like my saving grace, to be honest with you.
So he was cool with, this amount of kids and being responsible.
He wants another. He tells people, I won't believe she's done until her uterus is in my hands. I'm like, you can't say that to people. That's not normal to say to people.
So you have these 5 kids and you have a husband. How do you balance being a mom as well as a wife? Because they're 2 completely different jobs.
It's really tough. It really, really is. For us, especially now having Victoria, we used to be able to put the guys to bed around 8 o'clock, and they'd be sleeping within like maybe 30, 45 minutes, and would have the night to just watch TV or play a game or just hang out, anything. And now it's definitely changed a bit because Victoria is up with us. So it's constantly a battle. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's really tough to find someone to babysit 5 kids. So, that's also one of our troubles too. It's not even finding, I guess, somebody that will do it, but it's also us trusting somebody. Like, we can't just look at a teenager down the street and say, hey, can you watch when we go to the movies? It's, these are, we have a little baby. So, and it's a lot too, even for my parents, who are a big help with everything that we do. But I know that it can get to be a lot. So I'm going to be honest, we still are trying to find that balance between, hey, when do we get alone time and just kind of get to be with each other?
So Mary and I, we try to go out as much as we can, and obviously it's a little bit easier for us because we only have one pain in the butt child.
Oh no, he's delightful. Right. We're saying that right now because we're in the midst of still sleep training. We still haven't slept through the night.
But I mean, okay, let's just talk about parents with 2 kids or 3 kids. Like, what would your recommendation be? Like, you have 5 kids, and like, what do you do with your husband to like go out or have you? Like, I know you said it's a hard thing, but like, what do you do? Like, how do you celebrate each other and be part of each other's lives, like outside of your kids?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, our kind of like alone time now is Henry. They're all in school. All the boys are in school together. And so, I work from home, and then Matt's home. So I have to be honest, a lot of the times it's going out to lunch together in the afternoon. The baby usually is napping around that time. So we kind of get to sneak away and do lunch together. Or, like even tonight, I'm banking on all the boys going to bed, hopefully around like 9:30. And sometimes we'll like we're night owls. So I'll be up until like midnight, and my husband's the same way. So sometimes we'll like rent a movie. We actually just bought a new bottle of wine tonight we're going to try. So, it's things like that. But, one thing too is, my husband and I are big, like we always say, I love you. Like, even if I'm going to like the market, I'm like, I love you, or just like call to say hi. All right. I love you. Like, we're just like that with our kids, with each other. So, even it's just like texting through the day. It's like, thinking about you, love you. I mean, even like getting those little texts from him, like those mean a lot, because it really, we're the foundation of this family. And I feel like if our sons see us constantly in love and feeling the same way about each other that we feel, but showing them that, then, hopefully it will repeat itself with them. So I think it is important to me to make sure that the kids see us taking time for each other, because, my parents did that, and I feel like it's just a good thing to do for your kids to see that.
So I know you have the blog, and I know you work very hard, and you help provide for your family. So talk to me about balancing your career with your large family. How do you do it?
I actually, for me so far, because I do blog a lot about the family, it's been good. My only thing is, and I know, my husband is big on this, it's just knowing when to kind of unplug. So it's, because of, this kind of stuff, you can do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so it's tough for me sometimes to be able to just stop it. Like, if you're working, when I used to work at an office, at like around 5:30, I was done, and I could go home and I could not think about work until I went back the next day. And, it's not like that with this. And I love that, but it can be difficult at times. So I feel like, it really is the full person of who I am. Because I feel like people don't know really who I am 100% until they know my family. So I feel like it's been good in that sense of balancing it and letting my kids and my husband know exactly what I do, and that when I'm on my cell phone, I'm not ignoring them. I might be on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook in that moment. So, and they're slowly beginning to get it. My older 2 guys definitely get it. My other 2 guys, not so much, but I just feel like it's important for them to know what I do. So to get them involved in it has been a really good way for us all to balance it.
I know, actually kind of know what you're talking about, because, Mary, my wife, she's obviously a blogger. She has her own page, and, I get to see her on Twitter and doing all this stuff all the time. And it's kind of like, oh my God, like, get off the phone. But she's doing what she needs to do. And I know that you kind of inspired her in a lot of ways to start blogging and indirectly kind of this podcast too. So the most important question I'm going to ask you so far is, how did you get started blogging? And, do you think it's good that, do you think it's an idea that all parents should blog or use that way to express themselves?
I started blogging, I'd say probably around 2007 is when I started. And then 2008 was when I really was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can maybe turn this into something for our family, maybe some sort of business somehow. And I kind of just fell into it because I saw people journaling a lot. It wasn't even called a blog at that time. I remember it was just like an online journal. And then I was all into those. When I was actually pregnant with my son, William and Alexander, I was on baby center forums all the time. And a lot of those women that I became really friendly with, because we had babies at the same time, they actually had started these blogs, and I would read them all the time. And I think what was the switch was for me was, after my son Alexander, I miscarried, and I was really very devastated from it. I was like, wow, I had these 2 healthy babies, how does this happen? Like, a lot of emotions were going through me at that time. And I kind of turned to blogs for support because I didn't want to, it was just tough to talk to people. I didn't want people to think I was overreacting, or, maybe even I needed support from people that didn't know me, I guess is the best way to say it. And these blogs were what did it for me. And so I was so intrigued by this world. And that's really in 2007 when I really jumped in. And then in 2008 was when, okay, like I talked to my mom and my sister, and we're like, let's start this Mom Generations website. Let's just see where it goes. And it just really evolved over the last really 6 years into what it is today. But, I love it because, I really have turned it into a business for our family. But most of all, I feel like it's great for my kids now to look back and, I don't maybe have I don't have baby books up to date for all of them. I will completely come clean with that. But I've blogged about their lives through Mom Generations since Benjamin was born, since Henry was born, since Victoria. So I feel like it's a great way for them to sort of have this history somewhere for them. And at any time I could take it offline. It doesn't always have to be public, but I feel like it's great for them to have some sort of something of their past and of their history for them someday to look at.
I lost my iPhone. I lost it, or it was stolen probably 6 months after I'd had Rhys. And I was devastated because I thought, oh my God, all of my pictures are on that. And then I realized that I had published all of the pictures that I really cared about already on my blog. And I felt the same way. I thought, oh my God, this has been my baby book. I've been able to share and save these moments. So, you talked a little bit about how there's this community online. And I know a lot of moms turn to the internet for research. We have these baby research books, but honestly, we look at the baby center forums or the what to expect forums. And in addition to that, we have the blogs. Now, how much of that do you think can help or hurt new moms, especially when it comes to their being judgmental of one another?
Oh, it can be crazy. I mean, I'll never forget this. I remember I had just gotten pregnant with Henry, and this is back in 2007. And I went on one of the forums, and I remember the forum was for women who had more than, I think it was 3 children at the time. And I had just popped that I was pregnant with my 4th, and, I hadn't announced it yet. And I had like 3 people attack me for contributing to overpopulation. And I was like, for real? For 4 kids? I don't have 30. Like it was, and I think that was like the slap in the face for me. Like, wow, there are some really judgmental people. I'm just looking for someone. I mean, it was a really crazy time. Henry was, I will say, a big surprise for us, a joyous surprise, but a big surprise. And I was looking truly for support. Like, how do these people do it with more than 3 children? And I was shocked that I was being judged because I was contributing to overpopulation. So these people must hate me now that I guess had a 5th child. But, but I mean, yeah, I think it can turn a lot of people off. And a lot of the times I was a very nervous pregnant person. I definitely, even being pregnant my 5th time, if there was an ache or a pain I didn't know or anything, I was like I was on like the forums like crazy, and people can make you really nervous. It's almost like you want to look, but you don't want to look because, maybe someone has experienced the same thing. So yeah, I definitely think it can definitely turn people off. You get a lot of people judging you about every kind of topic under the sun. And it's tough to separate it and think, okay, this is everybody can make their own decisions. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. I'm just looking to kind of express myself here. So yeah, it can be tough.
If somebody doesn't have that kind of mindset that you do, and if they're starting a blog or they're going to one of these forums for help, how can they be safe sharing things about their family or their kids online? Is there a line to be drawn that it's almost too much to share or too much to look to for help?
I definitely think so. And even for, sharing stuff about your kids, it's always such a great topic because when I started blogging, I didn't know how long I would do it. So I remember just I never put where we lived, I never put our address, I never put where, the kids went to school. But, I remember saying to my husband a couple of years ago, wow, people don't put a lot of stuff out there, a lot of personal stuff. And, I really, I guess we really have to watch what we put out there because we don't know who's out there. You don't know who's reading things. My husband always jokes because he didn't get blogging until maybe 2 years ago when he really understood it and started to really help me out a lot. But he would always be like, how do you know that your quote unquote best friend from xyzmommy.com isn't some 80-year-old man at home getting a kick out of this? And I'm like, I guess you're right. I don't know, so it really is this crazy, world wide web that, you kind of, hope that whatever you put out there, people will take it, hopefully in a good way, in a respectful way.
Definitely. Now, you were just talking about how you have all these 5 kids and you've been able to blog about the pregnancy. How did you prepare differently during each pregnancy? Kind of what tips did you learn and how was it different for you?
With William, our first one, I was definitely much more nervous about everything. I mean, I remember his first fever. I remember he would drop a binky or a bottle, and I would immediately boil water. And, I mean, even in our own apartment, which I knew was clean, but I would boil everything and just, do everything I could to protect this little guy because he was my world. And then, when Alexander came along, it was a little bit easier because I felt like, okay, I just went through this exactly a year ago. So every stage I was like, okay, I got this, I can get this. And then, I think it's funny. I did really prepare very differently because after Alexander, I did miscarry. So my pregnancy with my Benjamin, who's my third son, I was on pins and needles the whole time. I was a nervous wreck from the second I found out I was pregnant until I had him. And I told nobody. I remember keeping all of that inside. I mean, Matt knew, but I told nobody. And I remember when they finally placed him in my arms, I was like, oh, I could breathe again. It had been such a long time since I had been able to breathe. And then with Henry, our fourth guy, I'm going to be honest, I was very overwhelmed. I mean, we had 3 little babies and Henry was a surprise. And I almost didn't process, I feel like I was pregnant until maybe I was 20 weeks. I mean, I genuinely remember going, how are we going to do? I honestly felt like I was 14 and in high school telling my mom and my dad I was pregnant. I was like, how are they going to react? They're going to be, what are they going to say? I remember being almost oh my gosh, what are people going to say? And my husband's like, what do you mean, what are they going to say? We're married. So what? We're having another baby. It's a good thing. So, and then with Victoria, I mean, and Mary, I've been very obviously candid with you, but I miscarried right before I had Victoria. And her pregnancy as well was very different. I prepared very differently. I found out it was a girl. So that was a lot different for me. I remember feeling much more fragile, oh my goodness, it's a girl. I remember I tripped once with Benjamin. I actually remember tripping and falling and I'm like, oh, he's fine. It's a boy. And with Victoria, I remember just the whole time just being very much, feeling very fragile. I have to protect this little girl. And also thinking I waited a very long time for this little girl and how I really just wanted everything to be perfect. So I was much more, I feel like with any pregnancy with Victoria is probably the most, I'd say prepared, but also, I kind of just also knew what to expect when she got here. So I was nervous for the pregnancy, just wanting everything to go perfect, but excited for her to come because I wasn't nervous about being overwhelmed or not knowing what to do. It was just okay, she can get here. We're ready for her.
So you talked about how all the different ways of pregnancy, but how about birth? Did you find that each time that you were bringing these babies into the world, did it still have the same feeling? Did you still have, whether it was fear itself or just excitement? I mean, did that ever change for you?
I think for all of them, it was really that same, just awesome, unbelievable, just incredible feeling with William and Alexander and Benjamin. I had them all vaginally. I was able to, I definitely had to have the epidural for all of them. I had very long labors, I remember, with all of them. I remember my water broke with William on like I think it was like 5:00 at night. I called Matt and I'm like, oh, I think my water broke. And it had, and I didn't have him, I think, until like 2:00 the next day. And I remember I pushed for hours. I mean, they were about ready to prepare me for an emergency C-section. I do remember that. And like, that's all I needed to hear. And he was out in like a second. And then with Alex and Benjamin, it was pretty much the same way. It was just very long labors. And my body really seemed to take like a hit. And I think it was probably because I did have babies back to back. So when I got pregnant with Henry, I remember the doctor saying, you have to have a C-section. And it's funny. I remember if someone had told me that my first time around, I probably would have, I would have been in denial. Like, no, I don't want to have a C-section. With Henry, it was almost like I wanted to kiss the man's feet. I was like, oh my God, I don't have to go through what I did 3 times. Like, oh my God, thank you. And and his delivery, I felt like was the easiest, because deliveries for me were just always very difficult. They just weren't good. It was always like very, checking the baby immediately. They weren't that, easy. Here's the baby, put you on your chest, like that fairy tale that you want. So, and then with Victoria, it was the same way. I knew I was having a C-section. I was probably a little bit more nervous because I kind of knew what it was like to have a C-section. So I was kind of like, I just wanted, I don't love surgery, but again, it was just, it was the easiest and safest thing for the baby and for me. So I just kept kind of thinking that over and over again. But I think with all of them, I will say, like, I didn't want to find out what we were having with our 5th, and I wanted it to be a surprise. And I think probably it's the only thing I wish that I had just, maybe stuck to, was that, of just because I never had that surprise. And I feel like, wow, that must be pretty cool to experience at some point. So
you talked about having, the 3 vaginal births and then the C-sections and having all these things go on. So how did you juggle being pregnant with older kids? Like when you had these kids and they're running around with their hair on fire, like, and you're 8 months pregnant, and then you've had all these births already. How did you do it?
With the boys, it was probably a lot tougher, because with the boys, I think maybe William was old enough maybe to get me a diaper. I remember like, hey, can you get me a diaper? I think he kind of knew what that was, but it was really tough. I remember the doctors telling me with Ben and with Henry when I was pregnant with them, you got to stop holding the other boys. It's not good. You don't want to, break your water. You're lifting, you're bending, doing a lot. And I just remember kept thinking, well, I mean, my goodness, and how do I be a mom? Like, I can't not bend down and change a diaper. I can't not play with them. I can't not run with them. And that was really tough for me to swallow and to keep doing that, just to make sure that I kept myself safe for the baby. But also I needed the boys to know that mommy wasn't, going away. Like, I'm the same old mom. I just have a big belly. But when I was pregnant with Victoria, it almost, became apparent why people put a lot of, maybe space between children, which we never did before. But it was fantastic. I mean, the kids totally knew that I was, they knew exactly what was going on. It was completely easy. Everybody helped out. It was a dream this time around, because everybody was old enough to get it and help me out. So it was great.
One of the things that I'm finding a lot of mothers who have babies around Rhys's age and who are starting to think about possibly baby number 2 is they're really having a tough time juggling work and just work for their family, whether it's them or their husbands or their partners. So how did you guys balance juggling work when you had that many kids that young?
It was at the beginning, what we had to do was, and Matt, I would sit here and say, oh, we had schedules and we tried really hard to be organized, and we did. But it was very tough. I mean, we did the best we could. I mean, I remember, my mom and my dad, they lived a mile from us they actually moved to Bristol, but they used to live a mile from us. And they were our they were our biggest help. I mean, just being able to drop the kids off or have them come over and allow Matt and I just the time to do some work and just to get stuff done. I mean, even, just work around the house, work for our own jobs. I mean, it was really something that, when they say it takes a village, I get it now. Like, we really, needed help getting everything set, and it didn't stop. Not until maybe, I would say, Henry, our youngest at that time, was maybe like 3 or 4, when it was like, okay, we're kind of getting this now. He's potty trained, and now we're kind of being able to do some work without, really having to wait until 9:00 at night to get it all done. So it was tough. It definitely really made us have to reach out and ask people for help, which is something that we didn't mind doing, but Matt and I never were usually like that. So we definitely, we needed help, and we took it when we could get it.
Now, what advice would you have for parents who are looking for more ways, to work from home? What kind of tricks do you have? Because that's a lot of these moms that I'm talking to, they're trying to find ways where they can juggle different careers possibly, or work more from home, but it's difficult because the babies are now starting to walk around and need them more.
I know, it's crazy. I think for me, which has been the best thing that I've been doing lately, on January 1st, I made the decision, if I'm going to get this done, I got to get up early, and I know I have to get up before Victoria. And it's tough for me because I really am. I'm a night owl. I love to stay up late. So, I'll try to get up around like maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. I know that she usually will sleep now until like 7. She's not sleeping through the night. So if I know that if she gets up around like 5:30 for like, a bottle or something, she'll usually sleep until 7:30, 8 o'clock. So, and I try to take that time, even if it's just an hour in the morning to get stuff done. I'm now big into these to-do lists. Like, I know exactly what needs to get done the next day before I go to bed. And when I see it in front of me written down what I need to get done, I'm more apt to just to like really kind of like blow through that list as fast as I can. And then I utilize nap time as best as I can too. I now know, okay, she goes down for an afternoon nap. I know I'm usually going to get about 2 hours, and I really do try to take advantage the best I can of that time. And then, because I have the luxury right now to have older kids. If there is stuff that needs to get done, I mean, I'm like, William, Alex, you guys, your sister's in her playpen. You gotta help me out. You gotta watch her. You gotta play with her. Do what you can. I allow one boy in at a time if they have clean socks. That's our rule. So I let them go in and play with her. And now she loves that. She loves the playing with the brothers. So that has been easy. And then I love a good high chair and a wonderful TV show for her. I mean, I have never seen a child love like these like little Disney like movies and shows so much. So I'll take 30 minutes if I can of her watching a little show, and I will try to get through some work. So that's been really helpful too.
I gotta say something. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse show, that just ruins my life. I can't stand.
Do you hate that song?
Oh my God, hot dog, hot diggity dog. It doesn't make any sense. Why is there a hot dog song in Mickey Mouse? It's ridiculous.
Please, I know. And then like we're watching what are we watching now? Sophia the First. So I'll have that song in my head all day long. It drives me crazy.
It's so funny though, because you hear all these things. Oh, don't let babies watch anything. But you're right. If you get that 23 minutes, if you do it on demand, so you don't even have the commercials. I mean, Rhys, especially when he started teething and he was up at 3 a.m. and we were losing our minds, we would just throw on Disney Channel and life-saving.
That saying, "Oh, toodles," it haunts me at night. It haunts me. I dream of it. I'm wondering what the mystery object is, for days.
Please, I know. And my Henry will sit there, who's like, literally in kindergarten, and he'll start screaming the answers out. I'm like, okay, Henry, okay, it's just for your sister. Please, let's play something else. No, you're so right. It's so. I have not watched a lot of those younger shows in a while, so I'm just happy that she's not into Caillou. That used to drive me crazy.
Oh yeah, that would drive me nuts too.
Yes.
For our listeners who aren't necessarily from Rhode Island they're not necessarily familiar with you, I want them to understand that you're kind of a big deal, and you have many leather-bound books, and your apartment smells of rich mahogany. But seriously, you're kind of a big deal, and you're a very accomplished professional. And so what I want to do now is I want you to talk about your blog, Mom Generations, and any other projects you may have coming up.
Sure. So Yeah, Mom Generations is, it's a site for moms. And basically what I would just try to do is just help them, create, kind of bring style into their lives. I worked for Donna Karan for 6 years in New York City, and I fell in love with the fashion world and knew I could never design. So I figured, the direction of my blog, I wanted it to be about fashion for moms and beauty for moms. And it just evolved truly over the last 6 years to what it is now. So really it's just creating a stylish lifestyle for moms, like products that are great, great quality, great prices, how to, anything and everything from activities for your kids, fashion for moms, beauty for moms, crafts, food, kind of, anything that I'm kind of doing in my life with my kids. It will somehow be, kind of brought into a blog post. And we do a lot of videos, a ton of videos on YouTube. We really enjoy that. And that's Mom Generations is the YouTube channel. And then I also, with one of my business partners, her name is Vera Sweeney, and she has a blog. She lives in Long Island, and she has a blog called Lady in the Blog. But about 4 years ago, we met at a blogging conference. We didn't know each other beforehand. We just happened to be sitting next to each other. And we kind of both started talking about how we wanted to try to do some stuff offline, but that still involved bloggers. And so we kind of started tossing out the idea of maybe doing a blogger event. And it truly at that moment kind of became a business. I remember coming home and saying to my husband, I started a new business called Getting Gorgeous with another blogger. And he was like, but who is she? And, we're now going on to our 7th event in June. Wow. Vera and I have become best friends and business partners over the last 4 years. And we do these events for bloggers. Again, offline, we get almost like expos, I want to say, in a way. Fashion and beauty, food, fun, come and get pampered for the day. And it's just bloggers, and all social media is exactly what's going on at these events. So I've been doing that for the last 4 years with her. I do have a book, The Digital Mom Handbook, which I wrote with my friend Colleen Padilla. And that's just truly just trying to teach other moms how you can get into blogging, regardless of if you want it to be a business or a hobby or whatever level you want to take it to, just how you can do it. Just some advice from the two of us that has worked for us over the years.
These blogging events, is anybody invited, or do they have to get an invitation? And when's the next one?
We go back and forth. Some of them are open invite, and then some of them are invite only. We're doing the next one in June in New York City. It's on June 17th. VO5, the hair products VO5, they're our title sponsor. And they're going to have 150 bloggers come, and they're from the tri-state area because it's easier for them to get there. So, really New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. I always love when Rhode Island bloggers and Boston bloggers come because I think it's, they're fun events. It's a great way to network, and that's why we started them. It's really tough sometimes just to get an email from a PR person and really only get to go back and forth via email. And it's really helpful to have, I felt like, at that time when we started these, just the opportunity to kind of get to an event and meet people behind the brands that we really love. And so we felt like if we could connect a blogger and brands, it's a great way to build a community because, I've always felt with the blogging community, we only get bigger and stronger when we work together. And, I felt like these events would be hopefully a good way to help that.
So Audrey, as you said that you give tons of advice on your blog, I wanted to know what is like one main tip that you can give new moms when it comes to fashion, because I don't know about you, but after having my baby, yes, my clothes were all very different, and I'm just kind of at a fashion loss right now.
It's funny. I know exactly what you mean because I literally feel like I'm almost back into my clothes. I mean, I can get them past my hips now, and now buttoning is a whole other thing. But, for me, it was like two things. It was getting a really great pair of jeans that fit me well, even at the different stages. And I'm even going to give you my tip, which I love them, and I'm not paid by them. I just love them so much. I went to American Eagle every single month because the jeans are so inexpensive, but they're really they have really good cuts and styles. So I would go and I would just get a new pair of jeans every month that just fit me well because, your body does change. It was like, the hips, the stomach, the butt. It was really tough. It is really tough. So, but I felt like if you have a really good pair of jeans that fits and you feel comfortable in, then, that can work, that can work miracles. And then on top of that, a tunic. I love a good tunic. I feel like it can disguise and hide everything. And you can wear it with leggings or jeans. I mean, you name it. But honestly, that's what I have lived in. And black leggings. I have lived in black leggings, too, for the last 8 months.
Oh, I know. I love my black leggings.
I love them, too.
It's like, that's all I do. My husband's like, you do have, these are not the same pairs, right? I'm like, no, I had 3 pairs. I'm washing them. I promise.
Well, we're going to move on to our next segment. We have a wines of the week and wins of the week. Blake, do you have a wine this week?
I can't stand all the amount of crap we have for Rhys. Like, he's outgrowing everything. And what do we do with it? Where do I put it? We have this small little apartment. I don't know where to go with all this stuff. Do I donate it? Do I throw it away? Do I just let it strewn about the house? I can't deal with it anymore. Where do I go? It's all the crap drive me insane. And like my OCD is kicking out. Audrey, how about you? What do you got? What's your wine of the week?
So I finally did the socks this week, like the unmatched socks. And I know, and I said to my husband, I'm like, that's it. If a sock does not have a match for 2 weeks, and like, who am I kidding? It's been like 3 months they've been in this like laundry basket. I'm like, they're getting thrown out. So I literally this week, I'm like, I'm done. And so I took all the socks that did not have a match and I threw them out because I just could not stand it anymore.
And next we're going to talk about our wins of the week. I definitely have a win.
What do you got?
I've been doing a lot of sign language with Rhys, and he's now at the screaming phase.
Whoa. Second, calm down to the interview. I do a little
You do
signing
eat.
too.
You do eat. You're right.
And all done. I do all done.
You're right.
All right. Thank you.
We've been doing a lot of sign language with Rhys. We're trying to help him get through the screaming phase because, whenever he wants anything, he just yells for it.
Yeah.
So today he actually started to make half of the sign for book. And that was, first off, I'm like the nerd inside of me is so excited that
scholarship.
Yeah. Right. Harvard.
That's right. But, it also shows that he's really starting to kind of put the pieces together. And I hope that this also helps kind of calm him so that he doesn't scream as much as he does.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Audrey, how about you? Do you have a win of the week, something that got you through the week that you get really happy about?
Yeah, my son, William, started feeding his sister this week, which is a big deal for me.
Aww.
He's been wanting to do it. And in the morning, it can be really crazy. And that's just like, you guys know, like you're trying to get out the door, do things, but, the baby has to eat. And that's kind of important. So I figure I'd let him try it out. And it worked well. Like she opened her mouth when she was supposed to. He didn't, put too much food in. So I felt like, I said, okay, Matt, like this is great. Now this is William's chore in the morning. And I'll tell you, like my oldest son, I could tell he felt so happy that he was helping out. Like it was like a nice bonding thing for the two of them. So it made me really happy.
Oh, and it gives you an extra 5 minutes of freedom.
Oh, it's heaven. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Parent picks of the week. So you have anything that you'd like to recommend?
You know what? Victoria's teething right now. So she's like big time teething. So it's actually called a Chew-ther. I got from Tommy Tippy. It's the Chew-ther. And it's the only teething toy that she actually will like hold in her hand and like literally gnaw on for like a good, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, usually like she'll put something in her mouth and it will drop immediately, but she's able to hold it. It has all these different like grooves in it. It's a really cute. It's like almost, it looks like almost like a key ring, but it's not. But it's called the Chew-ther. And it's funny. I even looked it up today because one of my girlfriends has a son who's really just about in that like horrible teething stage, and I was like, you got to get this. So this is the stage I'm in right now. It's just this horrible teething.
Wow, that sounds awesome. I've actually never heard of that. What a great parent pick. That's
it's
awesome.
called the Chew-ther. It was like, it's so cool. So
awesome.
I'm like loving it. If it falls on the ground, I get like nervous because I'm like, no, it can't be dirty. So yeah, we love it.
Mary, do you got a parent pick?
My parent pick, it's pretty simple, but just to buy lots of really cute bibs. Rhys is still at the teething phase. And so, whatever cute shirt he has, if it has a little logo under it, you don't get to see it because the bib is covering it up. And when we first bought him bibs, we just bought these basic, boring bibs. And now I've realized that they're not fun. But just to make sure that you have really fun, funky bibs to make sure that your kid is out there having a little fun with his outfit. So that's my parent pick of the week.
Give me some Dexter lovin'.
Audrey, we want to thank you so incredibly much for spending the evening chatting with Blake and I about all things being a parent. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you guys so much. This was great. I loved it.
And you've given us hope that it is possible to juggle more than one child. So
I thought it was impossible, I swear.
No, you guys would be pros. Watch you have triplets next, right?
Oh, don't take that back immediately.
I'll take it back.
I don't even want to. I don't want to hear those words out of your mouth again. Never once.
I'm knocking on our wooden table as we speak.
I will rescind your big deal
moniker.
I
love it. Okay, I'm rewinding back. I take it back.
Well, thanks once again to Audrey McClelland of Mom Generations. I'm going to make sure that there are links to all of the different ways you can reach her because, as she said, she's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. She's everywhere. So just make sure that you head to our website, ParentCastPodcast.com. Wow, Blake, girlfriend juggles a lot. Let me tell you what, between having 5 kids.
5 freaking kids.
And a blossoming business. My mind is blown.
Yeah, she gets it done, man. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows how to do it. She's making money doing it. She serves as a great example on an alternative way to chronicle your kid's life and maybe make some money while you're doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I know a lot of people blog, just as you said, just to chronicle. Some of them just do it, and it's a great way to share kind of notes to loved ones across the country and different pictures and everything. So Audrey knows what she's doing, so definitely take a moment to head on over to momgenerations.com.
But guess what we're not going to do?
What?
Have 5 freaking kids. It's not going to happen, bro. I'm sorry.
No, we just... No, we're fine with one.
Just no. We're gonna keep going with no.
Well, if people want to keep hearing more about us, they can. You guys can find us at ParentCastPodcast.com. You can check out all of our previous episodes. They're awesome.
If you get into the Facebook fad, as some people have around here, I don't know about you people, but you can get us at Facebook.com/ParentCast.
And some people might like to go there because Blake puts up pictures of our child in a box sometimes.
Really embarrassing photos.
Who knows what you will find on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. You could tweet at ParentCast.
And for Facebook and Twitter, when you're talking to us, always try to use the hashtag judgment-free zone. We're really trying to get into this one. I like this idea. And then if you're into the old Gmail thing too, you can get us at parentcast@gmail.com.
What a fun episode. And our next episode is going to be even more fun. Tell me all about it, Blake.
It's going to be episode 14. It's all going to be about what parents should stop saying to non-parents. We're going to have some friends come in and maybe a return guest. So get us the feedback about this episode. And if it's good, we'll put it on the air. And if it sucks, well then, as always, you're left out. Bye.
See you next time, everybody. ParentCast is a Tall Mom Media production. Please do not take anything that we say as true facts. We are not specialists or really anything. We're just parents who are trying to figure this thing out. So research things on your own.
Don't sue us.
Please.
Woof woof.